Victoria's Yarra Valley, winemaker Meg Brodman is hoping the Year of the Dragon brings some much-needed good fortune to an industry hit hard by Australia's trade war with China.
We lost everything overnight. We had built a business in China.
Winemakers expect China will soon lift tariffs imposed 4 years ago after the Middle Kingdom promised to review them.
We're gearing it up for it to happen. So the person that we employ in China, we've now got her back on board with translating all our marketing material back into Chinese, which we haven't had to do for a couple of years.
But Trade Minister Don Farrell told the business the removal of tariffs is by no means guaranteed, and he has a warning for his Chinese counterpart when they meet at the World Trade Organisation conference in 2 weeks.
We want the tariffs on Australian wine removed, and if we don't get that, then we'll resume the WTO application ASAP.
He's referring to a dispute lodged by Australia against the tariffs, which it suspended when China offered to review them.
Our agreement to suspend the WTO process was based on the successful removal of all of the tariffs.
Before the trade tariffs, China was our top export market, importing around 40% of Australian wine per year, worth more than $1 billion. The relationship hit trouble in April of 2020 when Australia called for an inquiry into the origins of COVID.
China felt very angry by that, and they thought they would use economic coercion as a way of punishing Australia for the announcement.
In May of that year, China imposed an 80% tariff on Australian barley. Next, it banned imports from some major Australian abattoirs over health concerns, followed by restrictions on cotton, timber, coal and copper. Then Beijing slapped tariffs of up to 212% on wine and imposed inspections on seafood, killing the rock lobster market overnight. The diplomatic freeze lasted for about 3 years.
China didn't want to choose industries important to them like iron ore, natural gas and so on because it's so important to their economy, but they wanted to make a statement which caused great harm to some key commodity exporters.
Economist and China expert Tim Harcourt says the sanctions backfired.
Well, amazingly at a macro level, the Australian economy chugged along better than most in the OECD.
Since the relationship has started to thaw, China's lifted some trade blocks. All that's left is wine, lobster and some abattoirs. The Prime Minister even visited the nation following the release of Australian journalist Chong Lei. But the relationship has hit another snag with the Australian writer Yang Hengjun being handed the death penalty. The future of the lobster trade is still unknown. In South Australia, fisher Kyriakos Tomazos has had a rough couple of years.
China has been our predominant market for over 4 decades.
It's widely believed Australian lobster is slipping into China through grey or black channels like Hong Kong, where imports jumped 2,000% a month after the ban was put in place.
We supply product to destinations that are approved, which is Vietnam, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and we are not aware of what happens to that product after it lands. We are just being optimistic that over the calendar year of 2024, we will slowly start trading again with our biggest business partner.
Rebuilding trade relations one step at a time.